There's a story behind why both of these people are on the panel here. One of which, the reason that Joe is in here is a slightly more indirect, but is that one of his colleagues who's now in Austin used to be my neighbor in New Jersey. So there's a long story of how you get that, but it just shows you that the personal contact of shaking somebody's hand over a fence kind of makes things happen. And Kat, we did we did an event about a year and a half ago, and I'm just going to put a word of warning here, because once you see what Tails.com does, in my view, and I'm not trying to be their salesperson or whatever, but the last time I met Kat, ever since then, my dog Marmite has been a customer and an advocate for Tails.com. So I'm a self-fulfilling prophecy, if you like, but both from actually meeting people in person. So a little bit of stories of how we got here. Just let's get started. Kat, do you want to just take us through your story and we'll go from there?
Yeah, do you want me to take us through slides? Yes, sure. So, yeah, hi everyone. Sounds like you've had a really jam-packed day so far of some great stuff. So hopefully I can add a bit of a flavour to it in the form of talking about tailor-made dog food and our journey to using customer advocacy to really build our business. So I'm head of product and customer experience at Tails, which means I bring maybe a slightly different angle than many people who've spoken today. I'm all about building a great product that enables customers to really experience some of the things that you've been talking about. Some of that's emotional, some of that's really practical. I'm going to take you through an intro, though, to Tails. Many of you have heard of us, I hope. Maybe some of you haven't. Great that Craig's able to give such a personal intro as well in terms of his dog eating our food. I'm also going to introduce you a little bit to our customer. Lots of dog photos, I promise, throughout the presentation, and also how we use advocacy as a really powerful tool at Tails. So a bit of an intro. Like most founders' stories, ours started off by identifying a problem. We identified that as dog owners, it's really difficult to navigate the market of dog food. Even if you've got a dog that doesn't have any specific health needs, as an owner, your dog to you is unique and individual, and the product on the shelves is really one-stop shop. Not really tailor-made, one size fits all. That goes from pricing through to quality, through to what if you have a Dalmatian who also is allergic to grain? That's a really difficult diet to find for your dog on the shelf. And we wanted to package that all up in a way that was great nutrition for a dog, but really convenient for an owner. So we assembled a team in 2013, and we launched to the market in 2014. We got people together from companies like Amazon, Graze.com, Innocent Drinks, Nestle, and that really gave us a strong foundation to build a business with the knowledge of what it takes to really take an idea and deliver it to customers' hands. Many of our office dogs in this picture, the dog at the back, whose eyes you can't really see, the black one, yeah, that's mine. Don't get a black dog, you can't take photos of them. She's never the star of the show. I have to let all the other dogs take center stage. So we're, as a team, united by our purpose. So this goes from our founding team right the way through to now. We have over 70 people working at Tails.com HQ. And our mission is about improving the lives of dogs and their owners. And that is very much at the heart of everything we do. The customer and the consumer are literally center of our purpose. And we carry that through the business. But I'm just going to let this video tell you a little bit more about what we do.
Tails.com. Unique nutrition made just for your dog.
You go online.
Yeah, you tell them all about your dog.
Or he likes beef.
They tailor the food for your dog.
So simple to do.
All the good stuff.
To be healthy and happy.
It's top-to-tail healthcare.
Tails deliver it direct to your door.
And it's even got his name on it.
And right now, get 2 weeks of your unique recipe for free. Go now to Tails.com and tell us all about your dog.
So hopefully that gives you a bit of a view. Unfortunately, on the still at the end, the Trustpilot stars have just disappeared off the bottom of the screen. But I hope it's a really good example of how this advert is only 30 seconds. We've got 30 seconds to tell you, the consumer, that you need to feed your dog in a different way, that we've solved lots of problems for you, and that it's truly believable, and that other owners are feeding it to their dog. So many messages, and I think just the subtle use of a customer rating really helps. But other little things are happening here. The voiceover, some of the customer comments, they are coming truly from our customers. Most of the dogs in there are actually customer dogs. Our customers love our product so much that they gave up their time for free, spent a night in Cardiff, and then featured in our TV ads. So I think those are some really great stories to be able to tell about the brand and how it touches our customers. Moving on, hopefully, to the next slide. Okay, here we go. So I think first step to really creating and then using advocacy is to create a product that your customers love. So for us, it's all about making it really simple to take our consultation, to create a recipe just for your dog, and to understand that that recipe and that price is just for you. And deliver that recipe to you each month, straight to your door, really convenient. And then ultimately you get a happier, healthier dog with everything taken care of. You can come and tell us any time that their needs have changed, for example, or you need to change your delivery, or even that you've moved house. So all of that helps give our customers a story to want to go and tell other customers in the first place. There's no point trying to create advocacy if you're not creating a product that's worth talking about. Secondly, put the customer at the heart of your business. This is an excerpt from a magazine that we deliver to customers, and we genuinely do take customer stories to help tell other customers useful information that they want to know about the product. Hearing it from another customer really helps bring it to life, especially when you can show a photo of that customer, for example, in our case here, Dee and her dog Hartley, and that helps tell the story. But likewise, we do use standard review sites as well to help get that advocacy across and make it really clear, what does this product do for me? What can it do for me and my dog? And then lastly, use that energy that you create is part of our tool to then go and celebrate the success that we've achieved as a team. Likewise, putting award logos on your checkout funnel do make a difference to, in a digital business, on-site conversion. It's all about building trust. It doesn't have to just be a review, the content of review. It can be a summary rating and stars. And likewise, use your customer to help engage your team and customers externally. So we regularly share reviews. We start every Monday morning meeting that we have once a week with a customer review that someone from our customer experience team reads out to the company. And likewise, we share it. This is from Facebook, for example. Again, a way of really celebrating, not just putting that Trustpilot logo, which does build trust, but actually bringing it to life, both with a customer's name and the words that they've taken the time to write for us. So we've leveraged our direct customer relationship. We've built a product that customers truly love, that gives the brand real resonance with them. By providing amazing customer support to our customers, that means that they feel supported on every step of the journey. They want to share that good stuff with other people. And then likewise, that advocacy continues to build through the channels that they use and our other customers use to talk to each other as well. So meet our customer. You've seen a few of the dogs throughout. Again, most of them are customers. So this dog is a customer as well, Scooby. And I think I just wanted to show this picture really to show you that what we're trying to do is not to sell dog food to a particular persona. We don't really use a marketing persona because ultimately who we're trying to get to enjoy our food are the dogs of the UK. But as you know, dogs, dog ownership, people with families have dogs, people who live in city flats have dogs, people in council estates have dogs, people in mansions have dogs. Really, we're here for the dog, and we're about making dog food super accessible for everyone. And so I thought it was worth calling this out. To build a product that enables every customer to enjoy is not about making a persona that you try and meet their needs. It's about realizing who is it that's going to enjoy your product, and ultimately, therefore, what are the needs of the person buying that product. For us, that's owners and dogs, but for you guys, it might be something different. But think about that too. So I've just got a couple of examples to show how we use advocacy as a powerful tool. This is Facebook, so on Canvas, the new advertising tool on Facebook. And we use it as a way to firstly hook you in, but then actually give you something useful. But what is this? Is it going to help my dog? Why would I use this product? And it gives a bit of a name to some of the claims that we're trying to make about the product. Likewise, it builds trust at crucial moments. This is from our website when, as you can see by the giant yellow button, we're trying to get you to sign up to Tails as a service. But we're aware customers will be looking around on our site for reviews, so make it really accessible. Make it easy for other people to come and see what others have to say about your product in that vulnerable moment. Likewise, advocacy builds community. So this is a question that regularly gets asked on our Facebook ads. If you guys use Facebook ads, you'll know they generate a lot of content and comments from customers. Customers often leap in and help people who are asking questions on an advert, which is amazing. That means customers who are already buying our product are seeing an advert, seeing customers asking questions, and they're choosing to take the time to reply back. So that's a great way of using advocacy to essentially build within a community some of the great words that customers spontaneously say about us. And that genuinely is only because we've made a product that they truly engage with in the first place, that they feel passionate about sharing. Likewise, reviews aren't limited to review sites. Use social media. This really helps. This is, we're starting to use social, for example, in emails to our customers. This is just, again, building credibility. People talk about us elsewhere. That helps customers understand that it's not just through review sites, for example. And likewise, use advocacy to inform innovation. This is, I don't know if I've been in a presentation with poo bags in before, right? Poo bags was a good product for us because we are all about nutrition. And so we kept hearing customers wanting poo bags. Why are customers asking us for poo bags? It doesn't really have anything to do with nutrition, until we realized that what goes in must come out. And that was the great positioning for us on poo bags. And we really realized that the advocacy that customers had, the passion they felt about Tails, that they wanted to take the time to write in and say, this is a product we want to buy from you, why aren't you selling it? Meant that we have actually gone and launched this product. At the same time, the photo on the pack is actually a customer's photo that they just sent us in spontaneously. It's not a photo shoot. We didn't buy an image online. We always try and really celebrate the customer with everything that we do and make it appear really genuine so that we can keep building that genuine customer advocacy and engagement with the product. So that's it from me. I'm going to pass over to Joe. Thanks, and look forward to speaking on the panel. Before Joe steps up, bottle of fizz out there for anyone who recommends a friend to Tails for a role. We've got 20 roles advertised at the moment. So if you know anyone who'd like to come and join the team, please send them our way. What breed? All breeds considered.
On a roll.
Yeah, tons of
One
roles.
role's allowed.
So yeah. Perfect. Yeah. So yeah, do get in touch.
Cool. So I'm totally tempted to come work for you because it's a sweet business. So I'm Joe. This you can tell by the accent that I'm not from here, but this picture probably reaffirms it too. This is like an American family transplanted to London, trying to figure out what to do on Halloween. But if you're not familiar, what's that? Well, this is me toned down. But if you're not familiar with Bazaarvoice, actually, let me just ask this. Name Bazaarvoice ring a bell? Anybody here? So maybe about half. We like to say this is a company actually you all interact with on a daily basis, but you don't know it. So we're in the background of 5,000 of the world's leading retailers and brands, powering their ratings and reviews and other types of consumer content. So my goal here is maybe 4 or 5 minutes, give you a little bit perspective on what we've learned in doing this for the past dozen years. So here's where I come from. This is like cowboy boots and hats, right? Austin, Texas. And I'm going to share with you a story that I think is the best way if I was a marketer to think about word of mouth content, ratings and reviews. To Kat's point, it could be images, other types of content as well. So imagine that you're taking vacation next year to Austin, Texas. And when you go to Austin, and I've hosted lots of people there, almost the number one thing that everybody wants to do is they want to try great barbecue. That's what we're known for. We're known for awesome brisket. Okay, so you get off the plane, you have not done any research, you walk down the street in Austin, and the first thing you see is a barbecue joint. Okay, so really clear, this place has barbecue, looks clean, there's a nice guy behind the counter in a blue shirt. So assume this is option one, okay? You keep going down the street, and you say, are there any other options? And you see another place, also barbecue. One difference is this one's got this line of people wrapping around the corner going down the street. And if you're a food nut, you actually might know this place. This is known as the best barbecue in America, Franklin's. And there's a line that starts outside every morning at 10 o'clock. And by about 1 p.m., they've sold out of meat. But if I asked you, not knowing that, which place has the better barbecue, you could all answer that question really easily. You know it's the place with the line of people around the block. And what I would argue to you is that reviews, social commentary advocacy is our digital way of having the same kind of communicating the same effect, right? So if I went on to Yelp, it tells me the same story. That place, Dickie's, definitely has barbecue, but it's got like 33-star reviews, and Franklin's got 800. I mean, they probably have got like 1,200 now, 4.5-star reviews. And I think in simple terms, if I was a marketer, and whether it's Tails or Pitney Bowes or whatever the brand is, I'm thinking about how do I represent that line of people around the block, around my brand, around my category, around my product. So that's my thought on it. I think the other way to look at this would be, I oftentimes look to the real leader in this space. You know, we founded our company 12 years ago because our founder was having a baby, needed to buy a stroller. There was this new place called Amazon where you could go shop for these things. And he said, wow, they've got reviews and I can actually figure out now which stroller to go buy. I bet a lot of other brands and retailers are going to need the same type of capability in the future. So if you look to Amazon, this is a great quote, I think, from one of their merchandisers basically telling their brands, before you go spend money on anything else, you gotta get right around reviews. And why? Because ultimately, reviews do a ton of work to help acquire customers in search, to make your brand stand out in the category, to increase purchase, and conversion when people actually get to your website. And then to Kat's point, if you're paying attention, you're listening, you can learn an incredible amount as people are talking to you. So I think it's, there's sort of this little thing with a lot of value. The other way to go look at this same problem is what happens if there are not reviews. So we were talking to Debenhams recently. They had interesting insight here. Well, what happens is when there's not reviews present, almost a third of their customers take off from the website and they go elsewhere to go find that information. Because I think, again, on sort of a bottom line principle, we're becoming hardwired to expect to find this kind of information. So not only do you need to put that line around the block, but I think you need to think about where is that line represented wherever your brand is sold or wherever consumers are making that decision. So last thing I would say is when we think about, so if you believe that word of mouth has value, and if you think about how do I get the most value from it, we take this kind of four-pronged approach. So we always start with what type of content really matters. And I'll give you an example of this. Is it that image? Is it a review? Is it a question? How much of it do you need? We've all done the looking at one 5-star review. It doesn't have the same effect as 80 5-star and 1-star and 2-star and 4-star reviews. We need a volume of content in order to say, hey, this really represents that crowd and I can really believe it. Reach, does it just live on your website? That might be the right place for it, but my guess is that your shoppers and your consumers have a very varied journey. They're all over the place before they make their decision, and the question is, how do you take this digital asset and scale it? And the last piece I talked about already is insights. So I'll give you a simple example here. John Lewis, longtime customer of ours, we all expect that when we go to a retailer like John Lewis, we're going to be able to find reviews, which you can here. This is almost the sweet spot for reviews. We measure 1 million variables around reviews. I can tell you that a product with a 5-star rating will not have the same sales impact or conversion impact as a product with a 4-star rating. 4.3 is sort of a sweet spot. But the biggest thing is that we know there's a tipping point as you grow the amount of reviews. So 20 tends to be a big kind of jumping point in that. I think Amazon will typically tell you 20 to 24 reviews. But again, we need to know there's kind of enough there to believe it. But the next question is, and I think probably the biggest thing I would argue you got to think about is credibility. Are these authentic reviews? Are they real? Can people believe them? That's why, again, you got to have positive and negative reviews. That's why somebody like John Lewis actually does display our logo. Again, most of you don't know Bazaarvoice, but that Be Authentic reviews there, if you hover over it, actually explains what our process is around authenticity and why we think that's a big deal in the industry. And the last piece is that, for a product like this, there's think about the right brain and the left brain. There's the reasonable part of you that wants to understand how's the efficacy on this product, how does it work? But there's also the part of you that says, inspire me, speak to my emotional side, show me what this product does. And I think this is a great example here of bringing it all together. So this actually uses our reviews technology. It uses our curations product that pulls images from Instagram. It uses our sampling platform that allows people to come on and receive samples and then share feedback on them. And I think ultimately, the question is, again, how are you using kind of these 4 approaches here in pursuing word of mouth? So I think that's it for me.
Thank you, guys. All right. Interesting, and both obviously different perspectives on ratings and reviews. I want to dive in a little bit quicker into a couple of those topics a little bit deeper. The first one, because if we go back to Brian right at the beginning of the day, and influencer 1.0 versus influencer 2.0, so the idea of buying paid for influence, if you like, the idea of how influencer marketing was done compared to how it should be done now, and then layered on top of that trust, right? Because no amount of content is of any value if people don't trust. And obviously there has been lots of stories about, fake reviews, being able to buy teams of people in, from country not named to do reviews and the rest of it. How do you, make sure you're getting the reviews, but making sure they are trusted and getting that across to people? And how do you filter out perhaps reviews that are, either unfair or fake, going either way, in any way? Kat, do you want to start with that and just?
Yeah, definitely. So really interesting to hear that the 5-star is not as impactful as the 4.3, 4.4 star, which I think is that customers want to believe that there's a span of opinions that they can choose to read to help them understand how the product's going to help them. So for different people, that's different things. And I think therefore that negative reviews do play a role in trust. Which I think is combined with that point about why does a 5-star review not overperform versus a 4 point something. So from our perspective, that's about building trust through always credibly talking to customers who leave negative reviews. So I'm particularly thinking about a review platform here. Obviously, publicly, customers don't see negative comments that come through to something through email. So this is our forum to really make other customers see that we're dealing with every customer as an individual and personalizing that reply, even when they've had an experience that may be through the customer's fault, or ultimately it's generally always we didn't make it clear enough, or we did something that could have been better. And I think responding in a way that makes the customer firstly see that it's not perfect, it's not fabricated, but also, when something goes wrong, they help out and solve the problem.
So do you make that public? Because obviously, you get a negative review, you publicly, and you fix it, because every company has things that go wrong with their service. That's just natural. And actually, history shows us that, or research shows us that people actually have a stronger brand affinity when you've solved a problem for them than they did beforehand, because they know, they're there to help me. But how do you publicly surface that then? Is it just replying to the reviews, or do you?
Yeah, so replying to reviews. So we'd always try and fix an element of it in public that felt appropriate. So obviously within some guidelines, and make sure that it's really clear to the customer who's left the review and to those who are reading it for their helping them make a purchase decision, that we are helping that customer with a problem if we're not addressing elements of it publicly. So we'd always use our same tone of voice that we use internally for customers who are calling us up on the phone or via email. It's definitely all from the same team, which helps it feel like part of our service. So that is a big part of it, yeah.
Joe, your perspective?
I mean, so I think at scale, credibility around word of mouth, social selling, word of mouth content, like we could use any number of things, is a big deal. I mean, I think, we've all seen the headlines in the press, and like if I think about my business personally, I think we're not in business in a couple of years if people don't believe this kind of content. So I think it's really critical to take it seriously. I mean, we take, from a technology perspective, we take a pretty complex, kind of sophisticated approach to it. So we use a lot of the technologies like a credit card processor would use to look for fraudulent reviews coming from, you said there are certain countries that are kind of hotspots for it. And there's certain patterns that you can see. And we see on a monthly basis much more fraudulent content coming than we ever have before. And so, we try to capture that. But I think like the more salient point is kind of what Kat was talking about, that at the end of the day, a lot of this is about how do you communicate transparency, which is really what people are looking for. And so my favorite example is actually, I think we know each other from a colleague who was at 3M, and they had a great brand with a really storied history that had a product that drove people crazy. It was a bandage, and it just, it was very finicky. It drove people nuts, and they had a ton of bad reviews. And they did an amazing 30-second spot where they had a guy stand up and he just read these reviews one after another of these one-star reviews. And then it flipped, and it turned to, basically it was the story of how they were innovating this product based upon the feedback. You know, the thing that most of us had grown up with this product kind of annoying us and impossible to stay on. And they were, owning up to it and actually using it as competitive advantage to say, actually, we're listening better than others are, and we're changing our product as a result. And I think those are the kind of smart moves that really differentiate brands.
Yeah, it's obviously an opportunity for innovation as well, and you should listen. It's a if someone's bothered to write to you, they're engaging with you, and you should treat that as a positive, right?
Yeah,
so, I think what's interesting about reviews, and I'm going to use a travel example here only because it kind of resonates with me personally, but I'm sure every other product has something similar, is that not everybody's version of 2-star, 3, 4-star, 5-star is the same. So depending perhaps on your background, what country you're in, what you think of as 5-star service or 3-star service would be different from another person. So there's a kind of perhaps an inbuilt imbalance in humans. So sometimes, I mean, how do you try and balance that kind of disconnect, if you like, because I might give something a great review, but actually the next guy thinks it's rubbish, and we had the same experience.
I think relevance is a huge deal. So there's sort of like there's do you have content? Do you have enough of it? Is it credible, authenticity, and then is it relevant? I think is the next question, which is what you're getting towards. And your example is totally right. If anybody read the review that was there on the John Lewis product, I think it was actually an awesome example of that. It was a 3-star review, which is not particularly good. And it basically said, I think this scent smells way too sweet. It's kind of, cloyingly sweet, but the product actually has an amazing effect. And so what we see, and you can put yourself into this situation shopping for, a vacation, a holiday, or a restaurant, is we don't expect perfection, but we want to understand the worst case scenario. We want to understand, okay, the scent isn't great, but actually I don't really mind that. I'm just looking for something that's going to have this impact on my hair today. Or this restaurant's really loud, but that's fine because I'm looking for, a guy's night out. And so we're looking for context, I think, at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that, and possibly that's also behind the 5-star feels too unachievable, like a full 5-star, perfect 100% rating, and almost possibly back to the credibility point is why it doesn't sell so well as a 4-point-something review, which tells you everyone's got a different version of what 5-star is, and it helps give you the idea that there is a balance.
So agree, context is great, but I mean, as somebody who's going on to reading reviews, I mean, obviously if it's a reasonably long review, perhaps the context comes out from what the other reviewer has said, but if it's quite short and sweet, that's going to be quite hard, and I can't, so how, are you trying to encourage longer reviews because of that?
Well, I think to think about, like, from a tactic standpoint, it's, I think we don't work with tails, but I would think about things like, what sort of dog do you have? How long have you been a dog owner for?
Are you a cat hater, dog hater?
There's lots of these contextual things, right, that you could ask somebody that provide great information on that relevancy, and then also help you, especially if you're in the product business, understand, well, for people who are first-time pet owners, they're misunderstanding how to use our product, or they have a different set of expectations. We need to provide them more information around it. And so I think there's a lot of ways tactically to go ask for that context.
Yeah, I think also it's about setting your standard high. So our aim is to create a 5-star experience. So I think that sets you apart from, giving a 4-star, 3-star review might be like, it was okay. And someone's it was okay might be a 4-star, someone's it's okay might be a 3-star, but probably not 2. I think everyone knows that 5-star is a really excellent service and something that surpassed your expectation. So a 2-star hotel might actually do really well on reviews because you went there expecting a 2-star hotel and they gave you an amazing experience that you feel, well, I only paid £50 and actually I got way better experience than if I'd gone to a 5-star hotel which had on average reviews from customers that were 3.5 star, for example, because your expectation would be different, I think.
Just going back to what a few speakers have said today, is like getting customers to actually do stuff when they've not had a bad experience, a terrible experience, is quite hard. And also the content and the kind of mechanisms behind it, it's quite hard work, right? I mean, you can't, you said yourself, Joe, it's table stakes now, so you can't not do it, but the effort, have you done any measurement? I know you've got a lot of data from, was it 5,000 brands? Do you have any data about, the measurement, the ROI, the return? I mean, it seems obvious, but I mean, people are going to ask that question. Is it worth it?
Well, yeah, I think the short answer is no. So here's the way I think about it. So we have a whole methodology around business case, which would look very different for somebody who's, a brand manufacturing products and may have other interests versus a retailer. But we have a whole methodology around business case. The thing I will tell you is, I've been in this business for 8 years, and I've stayed in it because I've seen incredible results. But for majority of customers, I see pretty good results. I think to get incredible results, you have to do a lot of the things that Kat was talking about, which says not just do we check the box and do we have stars on our website, but how are we using this content as a part of our operating rhythm? Are we reading that review in our working team and talking about what can we learn from it? Are we thinking about how do we take that review and use it in our advertising? Another example that you went and used.
So it's not a bolt-on, it's just part of your
business. To me, that's
business.
the question is, are you going for parity? Which I think you almost need something like reviews to have parity. That's sort of the insight from Debenhams there. Or are you going for a competitive advantage? In which case I think you have to say it's more than just we're putting stars on. It's an asset that we're really going to go use.
Kat, you integrate it into everything, don't you? So you obviously know that it sells more dog food, isn't it?
Yeah, which is possibly partly specific for our category. So dog food, feeding your children, it's all about trust in that product that it's going to deliver the best nutrition for a loved one. And I think, very, very specific for our category, that dog owners as a community want to help each other make the best choice.
Do you ever want to fill it in as a dog?
Yeah, I think some people have written from their dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get some of those, which I don't know if they accurately translated it, but yeah. So I think that has always really helped us because there's that natural community element. If anyone in the audience has a dog, you'll know when you're out walking your dog, you have conversations with strangers the whole time. It's like that interaction, but online.
How many dog owners do we have?
Oh, a few, okay.
That's about
quite
a third,
few.
maybe.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
so you'll know, you're out in the park and you literally are best mates with someone who's got a dog and you're talking about what you feed them the next minute, and it's just a really natural conversation. So it's a way for customers to have that same conversation online, and that, for us, is why we use it as such a key part of our product.
The one thing that I think is interesting also is I think you go, yeah, okay, dogs, that really makes sense. People care about them like a child, as you said. But we work with 5,000 brands. We work with people who manufacture paper towels and provide tax services and sell, servers and anything you could ever dream up. And we've seen people leave thousands and thousands of reviews in all of these categories. So people in almost every business, your business exists because there's somebody who cares about making that decision. Mm-hmm. There's somebody who cares about that product, that category. I think the art of it is how do you activate them and tap into it.
So the thing is about using that in the most relevant places. I wouldn't expect paper towel company, for example, to put customer reviews on a box of paper towels. It might be that at that moment of pressing pay now, that helps you over that hurdle. Whereas for us, we feel like it's more relevant to equally use those reviews in the materials that we put in your delivery. We put it on our packaging. We use customer imagery everywhere. We celebrate the fact dogs are in our advert. In fact, we call out to our customers, do you want to be a part of this? I think that's how we choose to use reviews.
Yeah, well, every category needs to make its own decision. One depends on what's relevant, what the customer wants and needs. Yeah. Exactly. I'm afraid we're out of time because I think we could talk about a lot of other stuff. But if you could just thank the panel for some helpful insight there.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.